face. On February 18th, when Oscar De La Hoya defeated John Molina, many believed he came of age. That night, Oscar disproved all the previous barbs about his golden boy image. He showed the world he could battle, but at the same time, he got a wake-up call.
He wasn't supposed to take me the distance. I would hit him with every shot and couldn't knock him out. We had to make a big change. I mean, the level of opponents was going to change to a higher one. More experienced fighters who were undefeated, fighters who were world champions. In order for me to fight them and to beat them, I had to change my style and change everything I did in boxing.
But De La Hoya was willing to change. Over the next few months, he steadily improved, especially defensive skills.
We box more, we move our head more, we move our waist more, and we make our opponents miss now, so they can get frustrated, they can get to a point where they don't know what to do, and that's when we come in for the kill.
Well, when I used to fight, I used to block like that. I used to come back like that. When they used to attack me, I used to go like that. And when I'm over here, I'm out of balance. But if I'm here, they can't push me nowhere. I could get.
Oscar promised more head movement and more flexibility, bending from the waist. He's off to a good start.
De La Hoya show you a lot of body movement, making himself an elusive target. And after making himself elusive defensively, Oscar let his offense take over. He's now destroyed 2 champions from his hometown of East LA. He knocked out Rafael Ruelas in the 2nd round, and he busted up Genaro Hernandez. But he keeps on learning.
Nobody does feints in boxing. If you're hitting a jab, boom, 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 and you feint them, if you feint them down, they're gonna go, and that's when you hit them.
Well, I think that he jabs very, very well. I think he's become a much better defensive fighter. I noticed that he punches to the body more than he did earlier. I noticed he doesn't rely quite as much on his left hook, although he still knows it's there, and he uses it at the right times. He's also able to set up his right hand a lot better now.
But the new style has brought a new set of critics, this time from where he grew up in East LA. They're used to Mexican warriors like Julio Cesar Chavez and Salvador Sanchez, shown here on the right. Warriors who don't mind taking punches.
He's not willing, or he doesn't want to get hit. He doesn't see anything valiant in being hit for the sake of being hit. That's a more American way of looking at the ring than the Mexican way. Even the idea of his face violates the notion of what most people expect a Mexican fighter to be.
If I was a fighter who had scars here and a broken nose and was all bruised up, people will accept me because I'm a warrior, because I stay there and bang with my opponent and bleed. That's what fans want to see. I don't want to give them that. I want to give them a good showing, a good performance, get their money's worth. But I'm not going to give them no blood and guts and this and that.
When the critics disapprove of his golden boy image, critics dislike his flashy boxing style, Oscar is no longer distracted. He uses that as motivation.
I'm going to stay undefeated and show these people that, I'm not going to fall into their trap. I'm not going to take one loss so they can accept me. I'm going to keep on winning my fights and prove to the world, that hopefully I can become a great, great champion.
At 22 years old, the golden boy has become, in the ring, all man. He now has the right skills and the right attitude to go along with his, so far, undefeated smile. And how well is it working? Well, punch stat numbers seen here show that in the past couple of years, good opponents see their connect percentages against De La Hoya steadily dropping. Ruelas and Hernandez this year both landing at only 23%. That's a mark well below the connect percentages of recent quality opponents against both Roy Jones Jr. and Pernell Whitaker. Translation, De La Hoya at this moment in his career is harder to hit than Whitaker or Jones. Tail of the tape for this upcoming fight. And we've mentioned here that Oscar is the naturally bigger man, 5'10" in height with a 5-inch height advantage, a 7-inch reach advantage. And in this, his last fight at 135 pounds, he will certainly enter the ring weighing considerably more than that, Larry.
Now, this is almost an artificially low weight for De La Hoya, who has been fighting in the low 130s since he's 16 years old. He will move up to the junior welterweight class after this fight. It's been a struggle for him to make this weight.
Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Here we see a picture of how accurate and how busy they are. You can see De La Hoya has a very high connect ratio. But you can also see that Leija likes to throw a lot of those jabs. Can he jab the taller, stronger man?
Rules for our 200th fight on HBO with Harold Letterman.
The Oscar De La Hoya Jesse James Leija fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight, and it can be set by the bell in the last round only. Jim.
Well, Harold, to the strains of Jimi Hendrix being pumped over the house music system, and Floyd Patterson across the ring flashing a big smile on his face for the first time tonight. Now that Tracy has left the ring, I guess the pressure is off the New York State Boxing Commission chairman, and here comes Jesse James Leija, tough veteran of the sport, who is very forthcoming in his respect for Oscar De La Hoya. Unlike some opponents in a situation like this, he didn't belittle De La Hoya at all. He says he's a great fighter. I just think I have a chance to beat him.
If you want to know who Leija is, in his only loss to Gabriel Ellis, he tore ligaments in his ankle in the 2nd round and finished the fight.
Ruelas knocked him down twice, so Leija has tasted the canvas. He has never been knocked out, and the record includes both a loss and a draw with, or a victory and a draw, I should say, with Azuma Nelson, a victory over Nelson, a draw with Nelson that most ringside observers thought he should have been given the decision in. Only 14 KOs among his 30 wins. This is a tough plugger who often has to go the distance to earn victory. And now Oscar De La Hoya for his Madison Square Garden debut.
Gotta move.
He has been greeted here in New York like a young prince, like a Barbara Streisand making her stage debut, a Norman Mailer coming off his first great novel. They want to see this kid in person.
There was some skepticism as to whether Latino American boxing fans in New York, few of them of Mexican extraction, would be interested in De La Hoya. The answer among all boxing fans here of every ethnic derivation is a resounding yes. This man has excited the city. Now will he do it in the ring? Oscar De La Hoya in 19 professional bouts has had 17 knockouts. Most recently, at the beginning of this year, he went the distance with John Molina and then scored spectacular KOs over Rafael Ruelas and Gennaro Hernandez. So we're ready now for De La Hoya against Leija. Let's go to Michael Buffer with the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser. This Buds for You present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman, former 2-time heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson, and the World Boxing Organization. President and supervisor at ringside, Francisco Barcarcel. The 3 judges scoring the bout on a 10-point must system will be Ramon Pina Pierret, John Stewart, and Samuel Viruet. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Ron Lipton. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mecca of professional boxing, Madison Square Garden, here in the Big Apple, New York City, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the lightweight championship of the world. Introducing first, in the blue corner, wearing black and weighing in at 134 3/4 pounds. He brings an outstanding professional record of 30 victories with only 1 defeat and 2 draws. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former junior lightweight champion of the world from San Antonio, Texas, the challenger, Jesse James Leija.
Jesse James.
And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white, trimmed with blue and weighing 135 pounds. He captured Olympic gold in 1992. And now, as a professional with a record of 19 victories without a loss and 17 knockouts, he has captured 3 world title belts. Ladies and gentlemen, from East LA, presenting the undefeated lightweight champion of the world, the Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya.
Just the Chief's second. Just the Chief's second. Bob, Oscar. Gentlemen, I've given you the rules of the WBO. I expect you to obey them. No matter what happens out here, obey my commands. Let's keep it strictly professional. Good luck to you both.
Jim, the Golden Boy originally was a stage play by Clifford Odets. It's having a revival here in New York at the moment. There's a line in there about a fighter that calls him a bullet that only has a future, which could well apply to Oscar De La Hoya.
De La Hoya seems to have broken just a little bit of a sweat, apparently warmed up. Jesse James Leija is unusually dry as we get ready for the fight to begin. Leija's camp, led by trainer Rich Giacchetti, protested the appointment of referee Ron Lipton. They don't think he's the kind of guy who can handle this bout. They expect favoritism from him in favor of De La Hoya. Could be a ploy just to get into the heads of De La Hoya and, for that matter, Lipton. Oscar told us yesterday, George, that he wanted to start off cautiously in this bout, and he's doing exactly that.
When you got long arms like that, you can do anything you want. When you decide you're going to throw punches, that's when you open yourself up.
Leija jabbing and then coming in with a wide roundhouse right. De La Hoya cuffing him over the top with a half left hook. Oscar has not yet begun to work the jab. Trying to build a rhythm and find a tempo as he examines Leija's chest. Leija, wary of De La Hoya's punching power, is starting off tactically. De La Hoya now doing what he said he wouldn't do, trying to land power shots in combination in the first round. Hasn't really begun to work the jab, but may have seen an opportunity to land the left hook there.
Yeah, De La Hoya is finding himself one of the few times retaliating. The guy hits me, I'm going to hit him back, that kind of thing. And you don't want to be in that position in New York City.
Leija looking at De La Hoya's eyes, but trying to punch to his body. He's already raised a red welt on the left side of De La Hoya's ribcage.
When you're fighting someone like De La Hoya, that's the way you got to fight him. Hit every now and then, stay out of harm's way. Don't go looking for any big knockdowns. Just now and then, make him pay. Get out of the way afterwards.
Left-hand counter landed for De La Hoya, not a hard punch. Right uppercut just missed by De La Hoya. Leija starting to watch the man open up in front of him. De La Hoya steps in with a left hook and then goes to the body. Leija backing up as he tries to land in retaliation, and Oscar is taken over. Leija blocking one left hook in there, but one of them landed.
The best thing about Leija, he's keeping his hands up after he throws a punch, takes his right and left hand back to his chin.
Very calm fighter, as his experience would indicate he ought to be. Swinging wildly as he tries to get inside of De La Hoya's reach advantage. Cautious and tactical round one, marked only by a couple of flurries from Oscar De La Hoya.
It's been a long time since Oscar's been instructed to win a fight. Forget about the knockout. And once you get in that kind of territory, you kind of self-destruct. Go out there, win the fight. If a knockout comes, great. If it doesn't, you're still ahead on points. And it's been a long time since he's been given that kind of instruction, those kind of instructions. The other guy, that's all he gets. Win every round. So Leija is probably in a better position tonight.
But in the first round, Leija, unable to get inside of De La Hoya's reach advantage, landed only 1 of 22 jabs. So unless he can get that punch working, he's going to have to find another way to get inside to De La Hoya's ribcage.
You try to keep the fight going as long as you can so that you can get familiar with this fella. You've been in there with sparring partners just as tall, just as powerful, but try to get familiar with this guy.
And because of the height advantage, you see De La Hoya punching down at Leija. Jesse's going to have to punch up if he'll do any damage to Oscar's head. Is it easier or harder to punch down, George?
Yeah, it's to his advantage to be punching up. Oscar De La Hoya he doesn't have to bob and weave his head. It's just one target. Leija, all he has to do is just shut his eyes and throw up what he can land. De La Hoya's got to reach down, and when you reach down, you're exposing that chin.
I don't know if I like the shut your eyes part, George. That leaves you open to counter punches, doesn't it?
Not if you can hit hard. Good body punch by Oscar De La Hoya. He just tapped him in the body with a jab. That was great.
Crowd in the far reaches of the arena beginning to get restless. They'd like to see a little bit more action. Not every fight is going to be like that Patterson-Gatti war. And down goes Leija, up a left hook inside.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Give me your gloves. Take a step forward. Take a step
De La
forward.
Hoya, the second fighter to knock down Jesse James Leija. Gabriel Ruelas did it in his victory over Leija. And here comes De La Hoya again. Jesse's just a little wobbly as Oscar looks to land another left hook. Going to the body, and now coming up with the uppercut. Right hand just missed. Flurries of punches. Leija losing his balance again. Got whacked with a left hook one more time. Round 2 coming to a close. De La Hoya looking to finish.
Too many shots, Jess. 2, 3, 4, 5.
And Leija is saved by the bell. Check it, that's the end. You can't be saved by the bell except in the last round. And referee Ron Lipton's seen enough. Stops the fight.
That's true. You can only be saved in the last round.
I thought he beat the bell. I could be mistaken. I thought he beat the bell, but that the referee stopped the fight
I believe
on his
that
own
too.
accord. I wonder if you can you stop a fight after the round is over, Harold? The round is over.
Yeah, Larry, the referee, can stop the fight anytime he wants. Why can't he stop at the corner? Yes, I thought that Jesse James Leija clearly got up at 9, but if Ron Lipton felt that he wasn't able to continue and he didn't want to give him the minute's rest, that he wanted to stop it at that
How
point.
can he tell how he would be with a minute's rest?
Larry, it's the referee's call. The referee has the right to call the fight anytime he wants. It's
Well, that doesn't make it the right call, though, does it?
Well, if I were a referee, I probably would have let him get the minute's rest and had the doctor look at him. But hey, Ron thought he wasn't able to continue. He stopped the fight.
And you can see that Leija has been cut over his left eye. It was perhaps the constant flurry of punches with no answer back from Leija that influenced Lipton to believe that he ought to stop the fight. Curious, as Larry Merchant points out, because the 1-minute rest period was coming up. And here is another look at the first knockdown. Caught him in the back of the neck there with the right hand after the left hook did the damage.
Oscar, it's like he's got something in his gloves.
And here's knockdown number 2, and the long sustained flurry by De La Hoya. There's a couple of wild left and right hand answers by Leija. And we'll take another look at the end of the fight in normal speed. Now you'll hear the bell.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 9.
Oh, it was clearly a 10th count.
You don't think he beat the count?
Not at all, because remember, he can't be saved in the last round. That was a 10th count. The referee got mixed up and turned away and confused a lot of us, but the count was continuously going because he didn't know that the bell could save this guy.
5. Now he turns away after 5.
He didn't know the rules. The rules are the fight cannot be stopped unless it's the last round.
I think he beat the count, George.
No,
I think he got up by 9, but you can't be certain with the silence there.
The referee caused the confusion by looking away. It made all of us think the fight was over.
Well, Rich Giacchetti's going to have a lot to say. Trainer of Jesse James Leija. He's the one who didn't want Ron Lipton to be the referee. Let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Ron Lipton has to call a halt to the bout. The end comes at the end of round 2. The winner and still lightweight champion of the world from East LA, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
He has, and I felt that he wasn't pressuring me too much. He was trying for me to make a mistake and then counter off my punches. I was being very aware up in the ring. I felt a bit sluggish, but in the second round I felt very strong, very powerful, and I got the good win.
What did you see that enabled you to end it, or did you end it before you even saw it?
Actually, I did see when he was hurt. I caught him with a few left hooks, some good right hands. After, when I would connect, I would always make sure that I would move back, let him miss, then I would start my attack again, and it worked perfectly.
He got up and beat the count at the end of round 2, yet the referee still stopped it before waiting for the 1 minute to see how he would recover. Did you think he had enough?
I thought he had enough. I think his corner thought he had enough. The people here thought he had enough. Of course, the crowd wanted to see a good show. Hopefully, I did that. I trained very hard. Jesse James Leija is a good fighter. He's a good champion. He came afterwards and told me just keep on going, train harder so you could be a good super champion.
Describe your experience here in New York and your feeling about actually fighting in Madison Square Garden.
The feeling is awesome like no other. Madison Square Garden is a great arena. Lots of great history in boxing, and I was honored to be part of that history.
What could you sense here? Could you sense that people were rooting for you, curious about you, wanting to see what you had?
Well, the expectations from the people here in New York, of course, maybe there were some good ones, some high ones. I gave them a good show. People were expecting a good show. The treatment was excellent. The people here in New York were great. Everybody involved with the stadium, HBO, Time Warner, once again, thank you.
Thank you for the commercial. Oscar, back to you, Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Larry Merchant. And here's your chance to see Harold Letterman in person. Now, Harold, you've had a chance to watch the replays and examine once again the decision that Ron Lipton made at the end of the fight. We're going to watch it one more time in real speed. And once again, George Foreman and I don't always disagree. Sometimes we do. I think he got up at the count of 9. Let's listen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 9.
He's up at 9. In my personal view, Harold, why wouldn't the referee give him a minute to recover from that?
Jim, he clearly was up at 9. There's no doubt about it. The bell can't save you in any round except the last round. The bell couldn't save him in the second round, so the referee, Ron Lipton, could have counted him out after the bell rang. But Jesse James Leija clearly cleared the canvas. In other words, his gloves were up. The only thing touching the canvas were the soles of his feet. He was definitely up before referee Ron Lipton got to 10. Leija was up at 9.
Exactly the point, Harold. How can he judge the safety of the fighter a minute in advance?
Well, I thought that Lipton was bringing Leija back to the corner to give him the 1 minute rest. All right? But obviously, referee Ron Lipton thought that Jesse James Leija had taken enough of a beating and was bringing him back to the corner strictly with the intention of stopping the fight, and that's what he did. it is the referee's call. The referee can stop the fight at any time and call it a TKO. That's what he did. A lot of referees certainly would give the guy the 1 minute rest, call the doctor in between, in the 1 minute rest period, and let the doctor stop it.
All right, Harold. So that's Harold Letterman's perspective. He's our unofficial ringside scorer and a New York State boxing judge, as well as in other states. Let's go up to Larry Merchant, who has the referee Ron Lipton in tow, I believe. Larry?
All right, Ron, tell us what you saw at the end of the round. Did Jesse James Leija beat the count?
He beat the count, yes he did.
And when you went back to the corner with him, was it your intention at that point to stop the fight? Why wouldn't you have waited a minute, had a doctor look at him, and then see how he was?
Jesse indicated to me he had had enough, and his cornermen indicated he had had enough, and they wanted it stopped.
He's right, Jim, because Richie Giacchetti, who earlier had criticized the appointment of Ron Lipton as the referee, agreed that the fight should have been stopped. Jim?
All right. Thank you, Larry. Well, that settles everything, George. So we have a stoppage that people aren't going to quarrel about now because the Leija people obviously agreed with it.
Something else happened.
What's that?
The referee looked to his superiors over there. He watched those guys, and they handed him like, okay, you're right. So he didn't just do this alone. He made the decision along with the commission. They gave him his blessings on that.
Which probably means that Giacchetti got into his head by criticizing his selection as the referee and battling against him, right?
Oh, a great fight tonight, I tell you.
And a great announcement from George Foreman, who's going to fight Michael Moore here in the Garden on February 29 in what I hear is going to be your last prize fight. Is that right?
Yeah, I've heard that a few times about my last boxing matches, but I'm having a wonderful time. I want to end, if I'm going to end my career, let it end where I started out, right here at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be my chance to get away from home. Everybody knows that I love the food over in Harlem, so that's going to be my training camps over there next to those kitchens.
All right, George, back to the central plot of the evening, De La Hoya's latest knockout victory. Here's Larry with Rich Giacchetti.
All right, and with Jesse James Leija and Richie Giacchetti. Jesse, you've been around a while. You've been around a lot of good fighters. What is it like being in there with this young man?
I'll tell you what, he's a good fighter. I've been in there with the great fighters. He's just strong. He doesn't belong at 135 pounds, that's for sure. Great fighter. I tip my hat off to him.
So you're not unhappy that he's moving up toward the welterweight division?
Not at all. I may have been out of my weight division at 135. I was the world champion at 130. But I had to, that's a big challenge for me, and I wanted to take that challenge. And Oscar De La Hoya is a great fighter, and he's a strong fighter.
Richie, you've been around a long time. Give us a capsule thought on Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya really showed tonight really what a strong fighter he is. He come out there, slipping James. We had something for him. We puzzled him for a while, but he got on track, and he did what he had to do. He hits hard.
So you weren't really disturbed by the call of ending the fight?
No, absolutely not. My guy fought a tough, hard fight. I'm very proud of him. He did what he was supposed to do. Oscar was the better man tonight, and I can't give no credit but to Oscar. He defeated us, but he's moving up to 140 pounds. We're staying 135 pounds. We're happy he's doing that.
One of the smartest moves you've ever made. All right, Jim.
All right, thanks.
Champions or former champions moving upward and onward, and I'm sure they're going to have him back at the Garden.
All right, so we'll have a final word on what happened in two boxing matches when we come back in just a moment. First, let's look ahead to the next edition of Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, coming up here on HBO.